prepare yourselves because this is the global headline. Russia is actively considering the use of nuclear weapons against Europe.
So why is nobody talking about this? Russia threatening UK and Germany with nuclear warfare? A close ally to Putin, someone that's been around for 30 years, has claimed that Putin says if the Ukraine war doesn't end and it keeps going at the pace it's going, he will use nuclear warfare.
And in that interview, he says point blank, yes, if the Ukraine war continues at this tempo for a year or two more, we, apparently on behalf of the Russian government, on behalf of his friend Putin, or at least someone who's very familiar with President Putin's thinking, we, Russia, will eliminate the UK and Germany with nuclear weapons.
So guys, I don't know what's going on, but this is not looking good. So Tucker Carlson has just interviewed someone from Russia, and he says Putin has claimed that as the Ukraine war carries on how it's going, and there's no end to it, in the next 2 to 3 years, he'll be looking at nuking the UK and Germany. Now, Putin, you need to take it easy, relax. With everything that's going on in the world right now, Donald Trump has just invaded Venezuela, and he wants Greenland next. And the Europe leaders do not agree with this move. So what does this mean? Is this the end to NATO? Because Greenland can be the end to it all. But this all doesn't make sense, because all Russia sees in this is weakness. And I'll be honest, guys, if it gets to a point where Europe don't have America's backing, and I could see Putin looking at making his moves, and us being in a time where Europe is crumbling and America is not willing to back Europe against Russia. And that's when Russia and China will seek out their opportunity. Let's see what Putin's right-hand man has to say.
Everyone knows that the Russian government, if pressed, would use nuclear weapons against Europe. You mean that, is my question. And do you think that the Europeans understand that?
War, at least morally. Though the same elites could not comprehend that if war, a real big war, is unleashed.
So he just basically said to us, guys, that Europe are preparing for war, but they're not prepared for what Russia will unleash. Yeah, he sounded serious. But what does this mean? Let's carry on.
In Europe. And sooner or later, this war in Ukraine, which we are waging with Europeans, escalates. There will be no Europe. Thanks God, we have changed our nuclear doctrine recently our president said he was very cautious and he's a very cautious and very polite man, but he said something very important. He said that if Europe continues and if Europe gets into real direct conflict with Europe, there will be nobody in Europe to talk to. But I hope and I beg and I pray the way I pray.
Nobody in Europe to talk to. So if you didn't understand that, guys, I'll break it down for you. These words came straight from Putin. He just said if the Ukraine war continues and carries on the way how it's going, there will be no more Europe. Now that's a threat. That's a really big threat, Putin. And we don't take threats lightly. Europe, gear up. So I think it's getting to that time.